Hi, my name is Maxfield Carpenter. This is my CTI-140 final project. We'll begin with the project introduction, and this is for OS testing and compatibility resolution for Taters Incorporated. Taters Inc. is interested in using a Windows product for their new OS rollout, and we need to determine which one will be best. First, we'll design a plan for ensuring that all compatibility issues will be resolved prior to rollout. We will determine whether upgrading to either Windows 8.1 or 10 is the right option. We will consider any hardware needs and Taters Inc.'s current server infrastructure while making this determination. We will explain in detail how the plan will test for any potential OS compatibilities, along with ensuring any application concerns are addressed as well. Finally, we will explain what the IT team will do with these results once completed. We will begin by comparing Windows 8.1 and Windows 10. The Windows 8.1 hardware requirements are as follows. The processor requires 1 GHz or faster. RAM is 1 GB for 32-bit or 2 GB for 64-bit. The hard disk space required is 16 GB for 32-bit or 20 GB for 64-bit. The graphics card is a Microsoft DirectX 9 graphics device with WDDM drivers, and it's recommended to have a monitor or tablet that supports multi-touch. Pros to Windows 8.1. Has a faster boot than previous versions of Windows. Improved backup services. Uses new Metro UI, which stands for User Interface, that uses live tiles, which are dynamic and continually updated links to applications and features. Cloud capabilities. Can bypass the start screen during boot up to either go to Apps page or the desktop. More customizable than previous Windows versions. And the Windows Store lets you find and download a range of apps on your machine. Cons to Windows 8.1. Users have a harder time getting used to the OS because of the new Windows layout and Metro interface. Not all applications are touchscreen compatible. If the host machine is not touchscreen compatible, that feature is lost on the user. It also has compatibility issues with older hardware drivers, and has Internet Explorer 11. This can be an issue since not all sites support Internet Explorer 11. Windows 10 hardware requirements. It is almost the exact same as Windows 8.1. The processor requires 1 GHz or faster. RAM is 1 GB for 32-bit systems or 2 GB for 64-bit. The hard disk space required is 16 GB for 32-bit or 20 GB for 64-bit. Microsoft DirectX 9 graphics device with WDDM drivers, and a Microsoft account and internet access is recommended. Pros to Windows 10. All new browser, Microsoft Edge, which is faster, cleaner, and has new features that will make it an improvement over Internet Explorer 11. Also has the Windows Store to find and download apps. It is compatible with touchscreens. The Notification Center for centralized management of notifications and quick access to PC settings. No start screen, but has a more traditional desktop, which most users are used to. Compatible with computers that are able to run Windows 7 and 8, but also improves the host performance in comparison to Windows 7 and 8. It also has the ability to wipe corporate data from devices and leave personal data untouched, as well as to use audit reports for tracking issues and remedial actions. Cons to Windows 10. Mandatory automatic updates, which gives users less control over managing updates they might not want or can potentially cause damage to the system setup. Some functions are not located in the same area, so new users will have to get familiar with the layout of various settings. A two-step process for performing a clean install and activation compliance check and 32 to 64-bit migrations. And will have to pay for Windows 10 if you miss the cutoff date, which was July 29, 2016. I think we can say the winner is Windows 10. Taters Inc.'s existing hardware. They have 292 total computers and are divided into multiple departments within Taters Inc. They are the administrative offices, which has two different computers, which is the Dell Precision Tower and the Toshiba Satellite. The finance, which has a Dell Precision Tower and the Lenovo Y40 laptops. Sales has the Toshiba Satellite. Main processing facility has the Dell Optiplex 320 desktop. Shipping and receiving has the Dell Optiplex. R&D has again the Dell Optiplex. Facilities and maintenance, another Dell Optiplex. And IT support, which has Toshiba Satellites. The existing infrastructure server. Taters Inc. runs one file server, one Exchange server, and an application server, all with Windows Server 2012 R2 systems. These are compatible with Windows 10 clients. So the timeline for the rollout plan. The OS build and application testing in sandbox environment will begin on August 28th and end on September 12th. Department-specific system image deployment with applications onto one of each department's computers for testing will begin on September 13th and end September 28th. On the morning of September 28th, the IT team and other required staff will have one final meeting before the new OS deployment will occur over the weekend to address any last-minute concerns. IT staff will be on hand during the weekend to make sure the deployment occurs as it should. System image rollouts with WDS, which stands for Windows Deployment Services, will occur over the weekend of September 29th and 30th. The IT staff will be at the office over the weekend to ensure the OS deployment occurs. The following week after the mass deployment, the IT department will be on call to handle any issues that come to light from everyday usage of the new OS environment. During this project, the staff from the various departments should be trained to use Windows 10 Enterprise and will be ready to begin using the new OS after September 30th. OS application compatibility testing will consist of the IT team that will set up the basic Windows 10 Enterprise environment for the company in a sandbox testing environment. This will keep it isolated from the live environment and give a safe testing ground for the IT team. Once the OS is successfully installed in the sandboxed environment, the testing will commence by specific departments. The departments again are IT support, finance, sales, main processing facility, shipping and receiving, R&D, facilities and maintenance, and administrative. The IT team will load the appropriate applications for each department one at a time and test each application. As the tests progress, documentation should be maintained of all findings, fixes, and outcomes. This will be important for further reference and future problems that will occur. Application testing will start with user interface. The user interface in GUI testing, which stands for Graphic User Interface, This testing ensures user friendliness of your application. It checks colors, which is whether the colors used for background, warning messages, etc. are appropriate. Graphics. This ensures the images are displayed properly. Check for alignment and size issues. Text. The content should be error-free. Check for grammar, spelling, and font errors. Instruction. On instructions, specific actions should be carried out. If you click Help, the app should direct you to the Help menu. Usability. System navigation should be correct. Loading time, display sequence, broken pages, etc. should be tested. Next would be functionality. First, you will check forms. Check the field types, numeric only, date field, email specific, pop downs, etc. Check if all mandatory fields are marked with an asterisk and errors are shown in red. There should be a maximum character limit set. Confirmation messages. Check if confirmation messages are displayed for actions such as delete, update, and close, and other functions, which consist of test timeout, sorting, email, and other available functions. Test for redirection to an error page if any. Performance. This testing ensures if the product complies with the required performance. Performance testing is not done manually, but with the help of performance testing tools. Finally, security. Authentication, which prevents data breaches by allowing access permission only to registered users. Ask for strong username and passwords. Repeated failed logins should trigger the alert mechanisms. Old passwords should not be allowed to process login. Access permissions. There should be an access permission set to edit the software-specific data stored. This will prevent unintentional security threats or data loss. The View Source Code option should be disabled. Session management. Ensure randomly generated session IDs only are used for all authentications and there is proper session expiration. Data transmission security. Verify whether sensitive data such as passwords, account numbers, etc. are transferred under proper security protocols that promises maximum security. Ensure that the personal data as well as password of the customer is collected in the encrypted format by default. Malicious command injection. Check for malicious SQL and XSS injection vulnerabilities and rectify them. OS deployment testing. Once each department's OS is set up and the applications are successfully installed and tested, a system image, which will be department specific, will be created that can be deployed through WDS to specific department computers. The system image will be deployed to one of each different computers that the department consists of. For example, the administrative offices has two types of computers, the Dell Precision Towers and Toshiba satellites. You will choose one of each type to deploy the image to for testing. The IT team will then go through and test all applications and OS functions necessary for the various department computers. Any errors will be documented and corrected as they are discovered. Finally, the pre-deployment meeting. IT staff will gather on the morning of September 28th to discuss the upcoming mass deployment over the weekend. All testing milestones will be reviewed and accumulated, documentation organized so it can be referenced if any problems arise during the following weeks. Any last-minute issues that arise will be the main focus for the remainder of the day. The deployment will be scheduled to begin next day, which is Saturday, to minimize impact on the work week. The IT staff will agree on which members will be on hand during the weekend to ensure the deployment proceeds as scheduled and be able to address any problems that arise. Deployments will be finalized by the begin of business on the following Monday morning. Weeks following mass deployment. IT staff need to be ready to address any problems that arise once the various department users begin working with their new OSs. The users will report any issues through a ticket system, and the IT staff will resolve those tickets in a timely manner. The IT department will have a weekly meeting to review the mass deployment and address all concerns that have arisen. OS Rollout Plan Conclusion. The rollout plan should have gone through all steps carefully, from OS testing, application testing, pre-deployment meeting, the weekend deployment with on-site IT staff, and the post-deployment monitoring. One of the most vital aspects to this process is proper documentation, and all IT staff should strive to excel in this regard. The post-deployment meetings will occur as scheduled, and the IT staff will discuss the week's events to ensure all members are aware of the current deployment status and any problems that occur during the post-week deployment. I hope all of you are ready to get started on Taters Inc.'s upgrade and be ready to hit the work week following the post-mass deployment. Finally, we have the works cited page. Thank you again, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation.